Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Rowan, the Digital Skills Advisor here at the University of Staffordshire, and today we're going to be talking about digital safety. So getting started, what is digital safety and how does it relate to you? Well, that's a great question. The internet is a big place and is often compared to an iceberg. And while a lot of it is kind of surface level, it's pretty good-natured. However, there can be bad actors that can cause destructions and harm. These individuals can achieve several things, such as stealing your information, accessing personal accounts, taking banking or medical information, and they can do malicious things with all of that they've gathered. So when we talk about digital safety, it is often relating to measures and activities that you should be aware about to ensure that not only your information is safe, but also secure. Starting off, let's talk about keeping your information and your accounts secure. Typically, when you're engaging with anything online, you'll be asked to create an account, which typically comes with a password for that platform. There can be several reasons for this, such as being able to connect with other users, buying items, or accessing your emails. To keep these accounts secure, you'll be asked to create a password for that account. Passwords are often the first line of defense to keep unauthorized users out of your accounts, so it's really important that you have a strong password to protect that account. There are several ways that malicious users can gain access to your passwords, from things like password stealers, brute forcing, or even piecing information based on what they can find about you online. Often users will use personal words that relate to them, such as birthdays, pet names, house addresses, children's names and birthdays, etc. These are all memorable and they make for easy passwords, which also means it's easy for people to crack them and get into your account. So it's really important to do the following when it comes to creating a password. First, to create a strong password, it should be memorable to you, but also very difficult to guess. The National Cyber Security Centre recommends using 3 random words within your password. Combine this with a mixture of uppercase, lowercase letters, using numbers in places, and adding special characters will make this increasingly more difficult for an unauthorized user to guess. Make sure that no one else knows your password. Keeping your passwords private is the best way to make sure that they don't get leaked out or sent around to unauthorized users. Think of it like your bank PIN. You wouldn't want anyone gaining access to your bank, so why would you want them to gain access to your emails? Avoid downloading applications from unknown or insecure applications, as these can also be used to track and gather information about you, which is then sent to other users. Lastly, avoid using the same password for different accounts or apps. If one password gets leaked, that means all of the passwords will be compromised and any user can then use that to attempt to access your other accounts. By using different passwords per account, you'll have that extra layer of security if the worst happens. Having a lot of passwords can get confusing, so it's a good idea to either store these passwords in a safe place, not out in the public, or use an application such as a password bank to keep these passwords secure, but handy if you need to access it. Often, but not always, when an account is accessed from a new location, you'll receive an email about it, and then you'll be able to change the password if it's a location you're unsure about. Sometimes a website's database can get hacked and leaked to the internet, which can contain things like user information, email addresses, passwords, date of births, so it's always good to do a quarterly check on your account to be safe. A great place to try this is haveibeenpwned.com, which can check the internet for various different databases that have been leaked, where your email and password might be visible to external users. For more information about passwords and how they can be broken into, be sure to check out the short course from Google on password protection. Not only does it give some great tips, but it also enables you to have a go at brute forcing a password to see how easy it is to break into. If you are a University of Staffordshire student, then you've definitely used MFA, multi-factor authentication, as part of your login for your Microsoft account. You know that really annoying notification that pops up asking for a number every time you log in? Well, as annoying as that might be, it goes a long way in helping keeping your account safe and secure. While passwords are often the first line of defense for your account, MFA is the next piece of defense, as it requires you to directly input a number to then access the account. With MFA, you'll be required to enter an email address or a phone number external to the account you are trying to access, so when you log in, you'll be required to access a code from either of those to input it on there. If your password is involved in a data leak, then having MFA is a great thing to use, because anyone accessing the account will then be required to put in a random code that is only sent to the email account or device that that account is linked to. For example, I can access my account on my laptop, which requires me to use an MFA from a text message to gain access. Having a strong password and MFA can help secure your account, but you might be giving out personal information to other users via other ways than accessing your account. Let's take a look at social media. You might have a photo of yourself at a birthday party, maybe an image of a pet moving into a new home, or even photos of your newborn baby. Well, it's lovely to share those family photos to close friends and family, but do you really want to share that with strangers online? That information can be used to access different accounts, pass security questions, or even commit identity fraud. And in worst cases, it can lead to being stalked. So it's important not only to be aware of what you're posting, but also keeping that secure as well. Unfortunately, apps like Instagram and Facebook don't have your privacy settings on by default to enable the account to be more discoverable to other users. So it's always wise to access the settings on the account and make sure it's set up in a way that best benefits you. For personal accounts, this can mean setting up your account so only friends and family can see what you post. Or for a business account, this means keeping the account public but being aware of what you are posting. And really that goes for anything you do online. Always be aware of what you're posting and sharing around, as this information will leave behind a digital footprint which can be traced back to yourself. We would recommend checking out either the workshop or our page over on LibGuides around managing your digital identity. Moving over to the next topic, phishing, and not the fun type, is where malicious actors will attempt to send notifications, emails, or even send links in an attempt to gather information about a user. A common tactic from these users is sending an email or a message with a link attached to a website that looks very similar to the official one, with the idea of getting you to access the link or even inputting your official personal account information into that fake website. Once you've pressed that link and entered your info, the trap has been activated and they now have access to your account. Now these won't just be random emails or emails from random accounts, they often pose as different websites and services, and they can even pose as family members who might have pressed a similar link and then got infected with different malware. So here are some of the ways to help you from being prevented from being phished. Be cautious of emails or messages requesting financial transactions or sensitive information. If you do receive an email with a random file, link, or is asking for payment, always check to see if it's an email you are expecting. Double check the sender's address and the name associated for any discrepancies, because sometimes the email address might have one letter or a symbol different. Always verify the authenticity of the email request. If you're unsure, contact the sender through a trusted method, not using the same email that the request has been sent through. If you do suspect an email of being malicious, make sure to report it. On Outlook, for example, this is done via the report message feature on Outlook in the top right corner. This will flag the email for Microsoft to investigate further, potentially helping other users out as well. This is a very similar feature for other email applications, so be sure to look out for that symbol there. A great way to see if a website is legitimate is to check if the website is safe and secure. This is often by looking in the top left of the search bar on the browser that you're using for a padlock icon. You'll often be able to press on this padlock icon to see the security certificates of the website. And while this is often a good indicator of a legitimate website, still be aware of what you're accessing, as it might be secure but could still be a threat for your information. If a website is completely not secure, you'll often receive a notification from your firewall stating that a website is insecure. Often, a good indicator of not to proceed when accessing the website, as it might contain malicious malware or other items. This moves into our next topic nicely: malware. Malware is a string of code that is designed to spread between devices to collect, control, or damage a user's device. They come in various different forms. A virus, often designed to slow, destroy, or corrupt a user's device. Trojans, masquerading as legitimate software but will often install other applications or malware to your device. It can be used to record information and data such as keystrokes, browser history, and personal information. Cryptojacker is a software that installs quietly to a device to run a crypto miner, which will use your device's processor, often slowing it down. Ransomware is a piece of malware that often takes over a device, threatening the destruction of digital property or locking down a device until a user pays a ransom to get access back. Note that oftentimes, even when the ransom is paid, the device is not freed and will often come back with the ransomware further down the line. So, how does a device get malware? Like a real virus, malware can attach itself to digital items and download itself upon your device without you knowing, which can then reproduce and spread onto other forms of files. So links that you press might direct you to a different website, which then acts as a gateway to installing malware. The same can be said for downloading files from emails, websites, or app installers without them being verified as safe. It should be noted here that some websites can open tabs in the background, taking you to a separate, alternative page, or will act as a recommended page, which will often lead to installing malware without you noticing. These, however, are often on pages on the murkier side of the internet to begin with, so proceed with caution. Close any tabs that you're unaware of, and don't press on any suspicious links. However, just like in real life, you can take all of the correct preventative steps and still get a virus. So what else can you really do to help prevent these viruses and act against them? By far, the most important step you can take is to enable the virus detector and firewall. This is often an application that is constantly scanning your device to identify threats that might be on a website or a file that you download. By default, Windows will have Microsoft Defender, which is on by default. You'll be able to search for it in your toolbar by typing Windows Security to make sure it's enabled. For Apple products, these aren't things that you can easily turn off, but I'll leave a product article in the description box below so you can read further into this. Relating to virus detectors, make sure to schedule a full malware scan at least once a month, which will provide a thorough check of your device to make sure that it's clear of any malware. Also, if an application tells you to deactivate your firewall, whether that's to provide an installation or to use the application, please proceed with caution. Itself can be a threat. Only carry on if you know what you're doing and be sure to reactivate your firewall once you are done. Oftentimes, it's not worth the risk. Update your device. Updating applications and devices will give you the latest security features and prevent newer malware from gaining access through old programs. Be sure that you know what you're accessing. Is it the right website you're trying to access? Is the padlock in the top left of the web page to make sure that it is secure? Same goes for applications too. Make sure it's from a verified source and to check the developer's website if you're unsure. Don't use pirated software or videos. Yes, it is free, and yes, you are breaking the law. And if that isn't cutting it for you, then getting a malware virus should be. These softwares are often free in the attempt to get you to install something, oftentimes with a malicious intent being intertwined with that. Stay away from pop-up ads. While they can be enticing and they try to pull you in with these big offers, they often lead to malware or information getting stolen. If you see something that interests you, be sure to use your browser to search for the deal first to make sure that it is safe and legitimate before continuing further. And again, keep a sense of skepticism, be aware of what's being sent to you or what you're pressing on. If you weren't expecting that email with the enticement of receiving £500 from a distant relative, then it's probably malicious. As we come to the end of this video, I like to mention that while some of these are the more publicised issues that we face when it comes to digital security, it's not every issue. It's always best to be aware of what you click on, what you download, what you access, who you're sending emails to, and make sure you keep everything up to date. Keep an eye out on the news, especially surrounding technology, as new threats are identified regularly and is a good way of keeping yourself in the loop and also safe.